Norwegian folk music, ambient stuff, some world music, and some improv. Myself with two Norwegian chaps, Hardanger fiddler, Nils Økland, and percussionist, Hans-Kristian Kjos Sørensen. Basically, Nils Økland sent me a CD that he collated of around 10 songs that I transcribed and learned. So I transcribed the harmonies, so I had a kind of a fundamental vantage point of the, harmonic textures like the chords, so I could give them some accompaniment. But it's different, it's not your typical folk stuff, it's kind of rubato, so you're kind of working texturally as opposed to kind of a rhythmic foundation. And I transcribed the melodies and created counter melodies and counter lines so we could play in unison as well. And I could also play counterpoint against his lines. And the thing is, like with the melodies, even though I figured out kind of modally what they were doing, and he kind of understood what the modalities are. Sometimes they would go into minor and major, or they'd be in, major and they go into minor, vice versa. So like you'd have a major modal thing that at certain junctures would become minor, and a minor piece that at certain junctures would become major. So you needed to know those points. So even in the kind of extemporizations, you could work on that. Also, we were going to be singing 3 songs. So basically, 3 Norwegian folk melodies, myself, Nils, and Hans-Kristian were actually going to be singing together. So we, like on one particular, the Friday night before the concert, myself and Hans-Kristian basically went down onto the quays in Cork, had a good look around, there was nobody there, and we managed to get the key a pitching, and we practiced the songs out there, bellowing across the lee, so that we could actually master those songs, which we did. So also Hans-Kristian was going to be doing some kind of Tuvan melody kind of improvs that he would work on. So kind of Tuvan melodic concepts that he was kind of developing. He also had a bit of a sampler, and so I would work with him. So he would do that, and I kind of figured out kind of, again, these were implied melodies. So I had to kind of find a way to work with that, doing kind of ambient guitar. And then I had Nils doing like rapid arco, master and commander style strumming with the right hand, and rapid bowing against that, karma shadub, if you understand what that means, kind of stuff. So I had that going on, and so we, the music came together very, very, very quickly. So we had a set together in no time at all, and so we were able to master the Norwegian kind of folk tunes, the 3 Norwegian songs we were going to sing, actual vocalizations, and also then we had like the Tuvan kind of concepts that Hans-Kristian was going to be working on. No, our first gig, it was amazing. So all chummy, very chummy, down to the Long Valley for, I took them down there for a pint and a sandwich, and very, very chummy, really nice, and kind of explaining about the kind of tintinnabuli kind of interjections by Hans-Kristian as well, and all very, very nice and affable until we got to Roscrea. My cousins were students in Roscrea, fantastic town, and we were playing in the castle in Roscrea. The lads couldn't believe it when we walked up the stairs to the castle. They were just absolutely, stunned, none the plus. And then, what was even more stunning for them, we had a full house. Full house, and some of the most beautiful women in North Tipperary coming to the concert. They were absolutely stunned, and the concert was a hit, an unmitigated success. Nils kind of patted me on the back afterwards and went like, fantastic. And Hans-Kristian absolutely loved it. Next, back to Cork, to the Half Moon. And again, Half Moon would have been very, very happy if we had 30 or 40 people at the concert. They'd have been delighted. We actually had a full house, meaning that they actually had to redeploy people from the opera house per se down to us, an extra doorman and extra people, extra seats. The place was full, completely to capacity. And on top of that, they turned away 80 people, which irked them because, in their mind, that's 2 other concerts. So, that was 2 more concerts that we could have done. Now, the concert in the Half Moon was absolute magic. Magic. Because we started with the vocals and the crowd were just this is just unbelievable. And even our friend Humphreys showed up from West Cork and he was astounded at it. And he came, as we were doing the Tuvan tune, and he walked in and he was absolutely astounded by the whole thing. And so very, very, very successful project. Incredibly successful. An amalgam again of Norwegian folk music at the core, at the kernel of everything. Ambient stuff and Tuvan folk stuff, and as well as kind of extemporizations, improvisations within structure. Then, so again, absolutely fantastic. Lads went back and I got a phone call the next day. The head man in the opera house wanted to have a word. So I went in before work and what do you think there? And I was sitting in his office with the panoramic view of the Lee, top of the opera house, panoramic view. And he basically said, from now on in, we're going to be promoting your stuff. So any of your gigs in the future, we're promoting them. And not only that, I ended up, you talk about notability, I ended up with my name in lights on the Cork Opera House. Now that's pretty notable. And also, I'd like to thank the Norwegian government for their support, and the Norwegian embassy, the ambassador, who was very good to me, and Helga, and Odd, especially Odd. Odd, thank you for getting me in there. I appreciate that. But their help was instrumental, pardon the pun, in making all of this an unmitigated success. Thank you very much for listening.